Hello, hello, hello. So today is 2 days before the Rosh Hashanah of Hasidus. What is Rosh Hashanah? So this is perhaps the most important concept that you can ever hear. Time, everything is based on time. Imagine the world without time. Nothing would exist. But what is time? Time is a sequence, meaning there was a before, there's a present, and there's an after. Really, if you want to speak about it technically, there's no such thing as a present. Present is a miracle because either it's before or after. So let's just use this concept that there's a before and after. That's the idea of time. Now, there are two types of time. There's physical time and there's spiritual time. In physical time, the before and after is before and after a physical event. So for example, before the sun came up in the morning, it didn't come up. And then it came up, and then it went down, it came up. So it's just a circle going on and on and on and on. But in a spiritual sense, there is no such thing as before and after. What there is there's more. So before I didn't know, let's say, that there's a God, now I do. Before I didn't realize that God is in everything, now I do. Before I didn't know that my life has a meaning, now I do. Before I didn't realize that this is the meaning of my life, now I do. So now you see how time spiritually is additional information and inspiration. Now this is infinite. It's very hard for us to understand infinity. In fact, I have a friend. In fact, I'm staying right now in one of his guest houses, and he once told me that the concept of infinity is very difficult for us, and he's a very clever guy. And because he says, imagine, one thing we know is that the universe is infinite. It took us a lot of data. 2011 Nobel Prize was won on the idea. This was from supernovas. Basically, they could map out the fact that the universe is continuously increasing its rate of expansion. So this is an amazing thing, right? Because people thought, okay, what's going on? Maybe it's expanding. There was a big bang, and then it's going to contract. Where is it up to? But it turns out that it's a miracle that at the outer edges of the universe, it goes faster and faster. And so this is, in fact, the main reason Hubble Space Telescope was put into space, to figure out what's that speed. And they figured out that it's 10 times. It constantly goes 10 times as fast. So it's a miracle. But the point is, if you got into a rocket ship and you went, I don't know, even at the speed of light. So I'll say to you that the expansion is quicker than the speed of light, so you'll never hit the end of the universe. Now, can you imagine that for a moment, that you're in a rocket ship that will go on forever, but you'll never ever hit the end? So it's difficult to imagine, because now you have to imagine really that this thing is really infinite. It has no physical basis whatsoever. It's a miracle that goes on forever. And the mind, as the Baal Shem Tov, as Einstein says, is based on the paradigm of the 6 dimensions: north, east, south, west, a cube, up, down. In other words, our minds are square. Our minds see things in physical ways. If we cannot grasp infinity forever. And so the point is that inspiration ultimately comes from God. And therefore, because God is infinite, we can always be more inspired. And this Yud-Tes Kislev, which is Friday night, Shabbos, is the highest level of inspiration that ever came to humanity. Because again, it's always getting deeper. And that's the most important critical point, which is that we've expanded our knowledge of space, and we even went into the atom, and basically it's just all miracles. But what about the knowledge of self? What about our own potential? That, my friends, is infinite.